Hey folks, Mike Dawkins from Worldcast Anglers here with your Jackson Hole Weekend Fly Fishing Forecast for the first weekend in September 4th and 5th. We've seen those busy summer months sort of cruise right by. We burned through July, we burned through August, and now we're here with fall knocking on our door in those first couple weeks of September. We can have some tricky fishing these first couple weeks of September. We start to see some of our summer hatches start to wind down. Those PMDs, caddis, stoneflies, and things like that are at the end of their sort of life cycle for fishing opportunities for the summer season. We haven't really seen our fall hatches kick into high gear yet. That's your mahoganies, your betas, your sort of fall blueing olives, and our Hecuba drakes. So in the middle period of those times where a lot of our fishing can be sort of challenging because we don't have a lot of bugs out, our fish have seen a lot of pressure throughout the summer season. Water temperatures are fluctuating, where some days they're on the warm side, other days are on the super cool side. That's the time of year to start plugging those times with your terrestrials. Those are your hoppers, those are your beetles, carpenter ants, flying ants, things along those lines. Those are going to be the keys to your success here in these next 10 to 15 days before fall really grabs hold of us and our fall fishing hatches start to get going. The good news is you should be carrying all of the bugs this time of year. You know, your leftover summer hatches of PMDs, they're still going to be out and about, and looking into our 10-day forecast where we've got some days in the lower 80s, those definitely will be important bugs to have in your fly boxes. Your terrestrials, as I was just mentioning, those hoppers, beetles, and ants should be in your fly boxes. And I would be ready with the betas, the hecubas, our fall sort of green-gray drake, and our mahoganies. Have those in your fly boxes looking into these next couple weeks. Because if you get a day with some cool overcast weather where things sort of chill out or we get some drizzle, those bugs are going to be out, and they're going to be out, and the fish are going to take notice. So it's one of those times of years where you're looking at your boat bag or your fly vest or your waist pack or whatever you fish with. Have your summer bugs, have your fall bugs, and have your terrestrials too. Looking into our 10-day forecast, it's hot and dry again. We've got some cooler weather this coming weekend, but we've got some sunny, warm weather looking into next week, so don't pack your flip-flops and board shorts and everything away yet, because it's going to be pretty warm. Saturday, it's going to cool off a little bit, 69 and 37. Sunday, 73 and 41. This has sort of been the first couple days we've seen our overnight lows drop to right around freezing. We've heard some reports of some frost and some freezing in the past couple days, especially in Jackson or some of those other areas. So look for our water temperatures to definitely cool down and our trout to be much happier. Jackson Lake, 34% of capacity. Palisades Reservoir, 19% of capacity. Island Park Reservoir is sitting, right around in its lower reaches of capacity as well. Things to keep in mind when our reservoirs starting getting that low. You're going to start to see a lot of turbidity come out of those dams via the discharge, just with lower reservoir levels, which is going to decrease the water clarity, and you're going to see a lot of sort of suspended crap and matter start coming through here in the next 10 to 14 days if water managers don't start changing their flows. Nymphing is going to be your best friend. Larger profiled patterns and darker shades are going to be your best friend. San Juan worms and some things like that are going to be your best friend. And that streamer fishing with darker profiled patterns that provide that contrast in turbid waters are going to be really productive as well. Once again, we've got the Fly Fishing Film Tour coming up on the 16th of September at the Spud Drive-In. We've got tickets in the Fly Shop, or you can get them online throughout any of our fishing reports, our blogs, anything along those lines. You can find some of those tickets there. The South Fork of the Snake, 8,810 CFS being discharged from Palisades Dam, 9,800 CFS there on the lower river. As I was saying, we're seeing some turbidity coming out of Palisades Reservoir. It's been mostly a nymphing game, especially in the afternoons, but the dawn patrol missions for those mutant stoneflies has still been really good, and we've had some really good reports of some terrestrial fishing, especially in the canyon and the lower river. So look for those things to make up your mix until fall grabs hold. Terrestrials, those leftover Classinia mutant stoneflies, and then sort of nymphing in those afternoons. High, bright sun when it's hot and dry out has been quite productive as well. The snake in Jackson, 3,010 CFS coming out of Jackson Lake Dam, 4,300 CFS there on the lower river before the salt and the grays. 4,300 CFS isn't a great flow if you're a whitewater rafter, but it's a pretty darn good flow for fishing, especially in that lower portion of the river and the whitewater section. The snake is still fishing really well, especially as we saw those flows decreased in the past 10 to 14 days. We saw water temperatures decrease in the past 10 to 14 days, and it's a great time to be on the snake. Be looking for those Classinia mutant stoneflies early in the morning, the occasional Hecuba drake, which is like a gray drake in the size 12, have been out and about, but not as prolific as if we had some cloud cover and some cooler weather. But look for those leftover PMDs in the afternoon over there on the snake, as well as some leftover caddis, mahoganies, hecubas, things along those lines. Your hopper droppers, terrestrials, as I mentioned at the beginning of the forecast, are going to be quite important here with your hoppers, carpenter ants, beetles, and things along those lines. The Henry's Fork up north, 400 CFS coming out of Island Park Dam, 929 CFS there on the lower river. Similarly, we're seeing some turbidity coming out of Island Park Dam, which has made the Box Canyon fishing a little bit more challenging. Still, nymphing has been quite productive. Rubber legs, tungsten, Spanish quills, bullet quills, the Spanish perdigons and things like that have been really good. And streamer fishing has been so-so there in the box. The ranch has been really good with hoppers, leftover PMDs, ants, beetles, things along those lines. Some tricos left here and there. That the ranch can be a great place to be this time of year if you're just looking to take a walk and you're looking to throw some terrestrials and be surprised with some of the eats that you can get. The lower river water temperatures have cooled. We've seen water levels stabilize, and the fishing has been pretty darn good, especially that last week before when we had all of that rain right there, the sort of second or last third of August. We saw some really good fishing in Ora, Vernon, Chester, and some of those other areas, Warm River to Ashton as well. Right now we're starting to see some of that vegetation let loose, especially below Vernon, and that should only get exacerbated as days cool, water temperatures cool, and that vegetation dies off. So keep that in mind when you start heading that way. The Teton in the valley, 208 CFS around Driggs, 545 CFS on the lower river. Similarly, water levels are low, they're clear, but the water temperatures are in much better shape than they were a month ago. Be looking for hopper, terrestrials, ants, beetles, all of that stuff to be productive up here on the upper river. Maybe some leftover PMDs, PMD spinners. It's sort of that time, like I said, where we're sort of in no man's land with your hatches. So I'd be ready for any of that stuff. PMDs, maybe some mahoganies, leftover stonefly here and there. Plug and play with your terrestrials, as I was saying, are going to be the keys for success up here in the Teton in the valley, as well as the canyon down low. Flat Creek has been fishing pretty darn well now that we've had this cooling trend. It's sort of been a smattering of bugs out there, midges, leftover caddis, some PMDs on the warm days. We saw some mahoganies, some betas, and some Hecuba stoneflies, Hecuba drakes out there when we had that cooling trend. But now I'd pretty much focus on those leftover PMDs, rusty spinners, some midges and caddis, and then I'd be ready with your hoppers, your beetles, and your ants, especially during these bright sunny days and these warmer afternoons. I wouldn't be afraid to throw a crane fly out there here and there on Flat Creek, skate them around, move them around, get some attention of some fish. If you're seeing some fish and they just won't eat, throw the crane fly. You might be very surprised on how reactive some of the fish are out there to that random terrestrial, the crane fly there. So that's sort of what we got coming into our fishing for this coming weekend. It's going to be cool and it's going to be very comfortable. So I definitely would be ready with some of those fall hatches, but don't forget your terrestrials, which are going to be the major play of the game until our season officially switches with our weather patterns till fall. Thanks for tuning in. Our fly shop's open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. every day of the week for the end of the summer season. If you need anything, stop in, give us a call. We love seeing everybody this at the very end of the year here as we get ready and get that second wind for some awesome fall fishing that we should have ahead. The Fly Fishing Film Tour, September 16th at the Spud Drive-In. Don't miss it. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you here next week.